Hello, and welcome back to Universal Law Snippets. We are finishing out our month with the law of cause and effect, and we are talking about service. Now, service is one of those terms that, for me personally, I have had some hard time reframing my thoughts around what that is. In the past, I have always thought of being in service as being some very big grand gesture or being in a career or industry where you are of service to humanity, which I think is a very, very valid and real thing. I think that oftentimes, when we are talking about being in service, we are talking about these very big advocate or activist type of gestures. And so I have personally never really thought that I was being in service enough to other people or in humanity. And so I've been very dismissive of what I do for others. So I've been thinking a lot about this recently, and I have decided to reframe it for myself, and hopefully it will help you too. Because when we talk about the law of cause and effect, I always think initially like ripples out into the universe, the paying it forwards and everything. And so I would like to do a little reframe and say that being in service is coming into someone else's electromagnetic field or aura or quantum field or whatever, and exchanging your vibration or maybe transferring some of your high vibrations to another person in some kind of act, whether that be a good word or helping or even holding space for them and listening to their problems. Okay, so this past week, I was at a writing retreat, and I am so grateful for the time that I spent with these other fellow authors who are writing their books, and it was a very lovely, beautiful space. And I had a lot of people who were very encouraging me and were very loving towards me and very understanding, and they listened to me whenever I needed to speak. And it was one of those things where I felt very safe and very held, and I looked at it as them transferring their good vibrations to me. They were offering some act of service to me, and it was, something so I would in the past say that I have done many, many times over. I've held space for people. I have listened to them. I have empathized with them or been compassionate with them, or I have given them words of encouragement. And I never really looked at it as something that was in service to them, but it really is. And so because of the law of cause and effect and how I have been contemplating it so much this month, I want to ask you, instead of looking at service as being some big grand gesture in humanity, what do you do every day that brings someone else joy or raises their vibration? So for me, I like to think that I'm a loving mom most of the time, right? We all have our moments, but my kids are the most loving people I have ever met, and they are constantly showing me love and appreciation, and I like to think that I give it to them back in return, and this is a form of service to them and them, raising my vibration and vice versa. And even just listening to people when they are, having a rough day and trying to empathize with them, that is being in service. Or going out and just smiling at a stranger. It doesn't feel like much, but that is what the law of cause and effect is all about, right? It's like doing what seems like very minor thing that could, completely change the trajectory of someone else's day. Being of service doesn't have to be huge. It can be these every single day things. And so I'm calling it, I'm going to call it vibrational transference, okay? Which is basically what the law of cause and effect is. And instead of saying I'm being in service to other people, which I am, I'm just going to say I am raising my vibration so that it can transfer to other people in some, maybe what I will never see, unseemingly big or minor way, but it's what I can do right now where I'm at in this place in my life. So service is just something that I have been thinking a lot about this week, and I needed a major reframe because as a mom to two young boys, sometimes it feels like I am just so much caught up in my own space, in my own world, and I feel like perhaps I am not doing enough for humanity. But then I realize that sometimes it's just the small gestures and the small thoughts and the small reframes that are so helpful to me. So I wanted to share them with you as well. And that's all I got for you guys today, and I will catch you next time. Bye.